Welcome. So I want to show you a continuous bias binding. And that continuous is what they use on a blouse sleeve. When blouse is being so popular and we're seeing so many different kinds of plackets being done with cuffs or whatever, I really wanted to take a minute and show you it. This is a really simple method. You're going to have to forgive my hands get in the way sometimes, but I'm pretty sure you can see what's going on and then how to add the cuff on. Now, again, one thing I didn't say, this method, here, let me show you first a picture of what this looks like. And you can see here, these are two different blouse sleeves. But recognize that they're also used in the neckline, in the back of blouses. Sometimes the same thing is done. Sometimes it's used in the front. Sometimes it's used at the top of a skirt. Rather than doing a zipper, they just do an opening with a little button. So I've seen it in lots of different applications, and understanding how to do it and when to apply it, you may come across a situation that it will work for you. One thing I'm not sure as we were sewing that I did clearly is when the cuff is undone and when you have a seam in a sleeve, sometimes you have just a slit, and you can put that slit toward the back of the sleeve because that's where the continuous binding goes. If you notice, it's not in the front, and I know probably I have, maybe you have too, is if you put the sleeves in backwards, the continuous binding comes right up the front here. It's supposed to be in the back. But if you notice, it goes in the back. So the slit or this two-piece seam, if you have a two-piece sleeve, the seam is toward the back. And then it comes toward the front. So it's that portion that is turned under is the one that's toward the back. That's the part of the slit that's turned under. I showed that, but I just wanted to make sure you understood it. And then it comes forward and snaps or buttons or whatever it does there. And then I showed you how to put the cuff on. But again, just practice this. It's very simple to do how I showed you to do it. I used a serger. You don't have to use a serger, but finish that edge however you do it so that you just flip it over once. All right, the goal is happy sewing. We'll go up and sew. We'll finish it up there, and the goal is to keep sewing. All right, thanks. Let's go sew. I'm going to do what is called a continuous lap. And it's used a lot of different places, actually. It's used in, this is the bottom of a sleeve. You can see that that's what it's going to look like. It's used in the back of a blouse when you just do a slit to slip over your head, and then they have a closure at the top. It's done for a neckline in the front. It's done a lot of different places. And if you know how to do it, you can just really put a slit anywhere and finish it off. And all you have to do is have this bias strip. And the bias strip in this case is like 1 1/4 inch wide. And I do it bias because it just has a tendency to fold better. You don't have to do it bias, but I finish one edge, I serge it. This is pattern 900. It's Carol's jacket. So it's got a two-piece sleeve, and you can see I've stitched to that point. If you haven't stitched to a point, then you can, I'm hopeful you guys can see this. Let me just change the light just a little bit. That might be a little bit better. If it hasn't, it either has a two-piece sleeve that has the point, or it has a slit that has a point. Either way, you have a point there. And so how that is doesn't make a difference. You're going to press that open. I'm going to put the right sides together. And I'm going to stitch the non-serged edge against the serged edge. And you're just going to take about a 1/4 inch seam allowance. You're going to open the seam up. And if you notice here, you'll stitch over that seam. And you want to stitch with the sleeve up and the strip down, because you're going to stitch right over that point. And just continue. Sometimes the strip is longer, just doesn't matter. But see how I've stitched right to that point, right through that point. My seam is pressed open. Actually, if you notice that little hole there, I missed it. So I'm going to go back and just stitch up a little bit higher. You do want to catch the bottom of that opening. And if you miss it, it's not a big deal, because you can do just exactly what I'm doing, which is go back. All right, now what you're going to do is you're going to wrap this around, and you're just going to cover the original stitch. Once you do that, stitch from this side. Just make sure that your wrap is actually wider than where you're stitching. And you want to stitch just right in the ditch. Look underneath here, wrap it farther than that original stitch, and then just continue to stitch. Leave your needle down, wrap this in. Anything that you can't do, you can always tuck in, and just wrap it farther than you stitched. And you're just going to do that continually until you get all the way to the other end. Okay, poking all the seam allowance underneath. Even if you have to just junk it in there, it's no big deal. Just you're going to keep going. Okay, wrap it around. As long as till this portion is tucked underneath. There's many methods that will show that you actually turn it again. I don't like that method because I think it just gets to be too much bulk. Possibly gets to be too much bulk. Okay, now when I take it away, what I see is that whole area is bound. And so one is going to go under and one is going to tuck back. And that's what it's going to look like. I haven't pressed it, but that's basically what it's going to look like. And that is what this is. I'm going to bring the one in I've done. Okay, that's been pressed. You can see that's been pressed. And then you've just got to make sure that the one is tucked under. And if you notice, you can put it on and figure it out. But the one that goes under is the back side of the sleeve. It's the bigger part. So that, you know, I can tell you to remember that, but it doesn't mean you will. And it's not a big deal. Okay, that's the part that goes under. All right, isn't that pretty? Very easy to do, especially when you're stitching it in the same color. You know, you can be a little bit off. You can see I stitched a little bit, but it still looks really nice. I'm going to press it. I'm going to now do this other seam in the sleeve, and then I'll show you how to put on the cuff. Be right back. Okay, so here we go. I've pressed it. Isn't that pretty? It's really pretty. You can see it lays flat because that's just the point that you stitched to. If you get a pucker there, it's simply because you didn't stitch right off the point. So now's the time you're going to put on your cuff. And this is just 2 layers. I've stitched them together. I've turned right sides out. And then I did something a little different on this cuff. It's completely optional. But what I did is I used the selvage. The selvage was so pretty of this particular denim that I used the selvage on the outside. So this is actually the selvage itself. Typically you would turn it under and then stitch it on. But in this case, I'm just going to use the selvage. So I'm going to I'm going to open this up. It's 2 layers. And you're going to put this in between. You're going to put the end of the sleeve in between. And you're literally going to just edge stitch it in place. Now, anytime you typically have a cuff like this, you're going to have a couple places where you have pleats. And where they are, it just doesn't make that much difference. I typically try to put them in the center. Really what matters is that you make them big enough. I usually do 2. A lot of sleeves like this will have gathers. I personally don't care for gathers. I'm always going to do pleats instead. I think they're easier to iron. They're easier to care for. I like the way they look better. You know, but pleats and gathers are the same thing. So I'm going all the way to the end. I'm making sure that that is right. And then again, I'm just going to gather up. I'm sorry, I'm not going to gather. I'm going to take up. Gathers and pleats do the same thing. They both take up extra fabric. So I'm just going to pleat this until it takes up the extra fabric that I need. You want to, you want to have 2. You want to have one in the front of the seam and one in the back of the seam. And you want them to be about the same size. But you can kind of just use common sense as to how You could even create a third one. I'm only going to, sorry. You could even create a third one. I'm only going to do 2, but you could. This is all style and design. It just doesn't make a difference. So I've worked that in until it's the size that it should be. And that's what it's going to look like. It doesn't matter whether they go, there's no rules on whether they point, which way they point or which way they are. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to edge stitch this cuff into place. And typically you would go right on the edge. But because this is selvage is showing, I thought it would be kind of cute to leave a little bit showing. Almost like a little bit of a ruffle on top of the cuff. I know that sounds crazy, but here I'm just going to show you this one, and the one I already did. This is the one already done, and you can see I left a little bit of kind of hanging up there where that selvage is, you know, it doesn't matter, but it's on there, it's good. This closes like this. You can see how beautiful that is. I'm just going to put a snap on each one of those to fit my wrist, and we're good to go. So that continuous bias flap is really, or continuous bias placket, I guess is really what it's called. Keep in mind that it can be used in a lot of places where you just need an opening, and yet you need to finish the opening. That's really all the places it is used for. All right, so thanks for joining us. Happy sewing.